Did you know that the average person has about 60,000 thoughts racing through their head per day? And 95% of those thoughts are the same as the day before. Each person tends to have an overarching thought, like a theme or thesis, that runs deep to the core. Like, for example, what do I do so that they like me? Why am I not good enough? What can I do now to make me smarter? Why can't I lose weight? As an introvert, I find myself always self-reflecting just about the world, writing and just being creative, and I think a part of that process you're just always second-guessing yourself, so there's always just random negative thoughts that pop up of insecurity. So nice to be kind of in tune with yourself and just always be thinking and just like deep into your own world. But since we're such great reflectors, it can often turn into chronic overthinking, intrusive thoughts, sadness, anxiety, just a bunch of really negative potion. My thoughts are constantly racing in my mind, kind of just like hamsters at lightning speed. And so back to that statistic, can you imagine how many of those thoughts per day are actual positive ones that you continue to enforce day by day? Like, I would take a big bet and just think that most of them are negative. So the way that you're programmed through your experience to feel certain feelings and emotions, they kind of direct those self-deprecating thoughts in the future, and as that continues to solidify, it just impacts the way you experience things in the future, right? So eventually it molds you a certain way, and it just molds and changes the core of who you are and your identity, basically. So then our anxious thoughts kind of just are a never-ending cycle, you know, like every single day they become stronger and stronger. And because we take comfort in the familiarity of just our thoughts and our emotions, and sometimes we don't realize how they're impacting us, I wanted to share 10 mindful ideas just to curb anxiety, help just staying calm amidst this world that's basically like running on fire, and I don't want you to get burned. So yeah, you definitely have to really focus and prioritize yourself and your emotional well-being. Of course, this can apply to anyone, extroverts as well, but I wanted to focus more on quiet moments and activities of solitude, so specifically in a quiet environment. So just to have like more self-reflection and self-awareness. So if you're into that, then definitely I hope that will be helpful for you as well. Okay, number one, we're kicking it off with a writing activity. So you can write a letter to yourself from the perspective and point of view of your best friend. Now, we all know that when people tell us their problems, we're always just cheering them on, trying to like quickly problem solve. We seem to always know what to do in other people's problems. When it comes to ourselves, we're just so toxic and negative to ourselves. Sometimes we're just so inside our heads that we don't see what our worries and anxieties look like from an outside objective perspective. So I think it would be very helpful to kind of see what you can come up with, or maybe even the opposite, pretend like what you're going through are your best friend's problems. So kind of just write about the advice you would give them, especially just because we're always so supportive to other people. So let's cheer each other on by cheering ourselves. So get that self-love and confidence up, you know? Number two is find 30 journaling prompts and go 30 days with journaling. I used to journal all the time, basically like for the past, I don't know, 15 to 17 years. I've been journaling like literally ever since grade 3. I haven't always been consistent, but it's just the outlet that always helped me. Sometimes it's nice to just write down what you're feeling in the moment. Putting a name to it really just helps you understand it more, and which can help get you on the process and pathway of getting over it. So that way the things that you're writing about hopefully will be a little less intimidating, and you can find comfort in that self-reflection and self-assurance. And if you're kind of racking your brain of what to write, there's like loads of prompts on Pinterest. Number three, learn something you've never done before by following the step-by-step process of someone else who's done it before and who's basically an expert and can really just help challenge. I think focusing on the step-by-step process and following something along will really help kind of deviate your mind from all of the anxiety that it's feeling at the moment, because it's focused on this new skill, this new challenge that it's never done before. And I think that like having one area be a point focus for you can really alleviate kind of the stress at the moment. Your mind and all of your thoughts and energy are focused on this one thing. And of course, once you kind of get the hang of it, you'll feel extremely accomplished. That will make you a little bit more happier in the moment, because you'll just feel that sense of joy and pride in yourself. And yeah, I think, and of course at the end of the day, you're gonna learn a new skill. And of course, it doesn't have to be big, just a healthy habit. Examples are maybe just learning how to do yoga. I know that's helpful for some people. Another thing is maybe learning how to draw. There's loads of free tutorials on YouTube. Most of the time our anxiety is triggered by being uncertain for the future and a huge cloud of like future events that just like there's so much to do. So the step by step will kind of make you feel less overwhelmed because that's like what you're going to be focusing on. Or maybe you can craft a short story. Maybe you haven't written in a while and you want to get back into it. So maybe just find something that you haven't done in a while and that you're like maybe rusty at, that you need to learn how to do more, and I think that will really keep you busy and creative in the moment and challenge you. Number 4, practice mindful eating. I actually got this suggestion from your dear friend's video, Avocado on Everything. She's so sweet and amazing. Her channel is like all things lifestyle and like reviews and like food and healthiness, and she talked about having a goal where she wanted to eat mindfully. So basically, instead of watching TV and eating your meals and like all of your snacks and stuff, kind of just like sitting there and focusing more on the food and like everything that you're feeling in that moment. I was really inspired by that, and so I think that would be very helpful, and I'm trying to do that more often. Maybe if you're like so used to eating in front of the TV, maybe you can do it like once a day instead of like completely quitting cold turkey. But a lot of the time we're so stressed that we're kind of distracting ourselves from our thoughts, and it's hard for us to confront them. And so I think kind of these moments of solitude and complete like focus on your senses and what you're feeling and how it tastes and like how your day is going, just like complete self-reflection, I think can anchor you better for the rest of your day. If you're kind of like feeling down or all sluggish and lazy, just like come out and ask yourself like, what did I do this morning or this day that made me feel this way? Is it because I woke up late and like was running to catch the train, or is it because I went to sleep late last night and then I just felt all disoriented today, or is it because a task that I did before like really disappointed me, like my performance, and it felt like a failure? So you have to kind of recognize all of these emotions and things that you're feeling in order to move forward. And if you're always kind of just like blocking that awareness with like a TV, like a book, just like your homework, a million different things that you don't have time to think, and then for example, for me, like before bed, like it takes me so long to fall asleep because I'm just always thinking. So if you divide that during the day, maybe you'll sleep better. Number 5 is substitute unnecessary social media scrolling by actually checking up with a physical friend or family member, or just sending them like a catching up text. Especially nowadays, I feel like we really need it because we're in lockdown again, or it's really hard to keep that close, intimate relationship with people when you can't see them. And so luckily we have social media and like online, you know, Skype and like FaceTime and all of that stuff. So of course social media is great, but it's also more effective, I feel like, and more meaningful to actually go out and like text your friends and catch up with them if you haven't talked to them for like a week or two. And just I think that's always really good for the soul, because sometimes you don't realize how much you're keeping in, and like maybe just sometimes you just need to rant. You just need a listening ear that's like completely judgment free, and you need to just kind of like let it all go. Or other times you just like, I don't know, you just need to talk to someone, because maybe that's the reason why you've been feeling all off balance lately, or like really moody. Just like you need someone to connect with, right? So maybe schedule like a virtual movie night, or like a coffee date, or just like anything that can really help you and help the other person kind of increase that bond together. Number 6, be brutally honest with all of your toxic habits. Kind of reflect and assess yourself, and create small reachable goals to kind of transition yourself from those habits into healthier habits. So if you know that you can't handle Netflix, if you know the second that you start an episode you're going to be binging for 8 hours, unsubscribe. Create a rule for yourself. No Netflix until after 6 p.m., after 8 p.m., after you've done this, and that. You have to know yourself in order to create these like barriers and structure for yourself, but also you need to be honest with yourself. Don't lie to yourself. You need to completely confront yourself. So if you've been feeling sad, Why have you been feeling sad? Is it because you've been eating junk food all week? Maybe treating yourself too much and haven't been actually like drinking water. I mean, just like even the simple things like drinking water, eating, you know, more greens, and even just going outside in the sun or just exercising for like 20 minutes. I recently saw this like infographic on Instagram about like the 4 chemicals that like create happiness, and it's about like serotonin and dopamine, and it's so eye-opening. I think I might make a video about it, about just like if you're feeling, for example, moody. Why is it that? Because maybe you don't have an exercise, maybe because you don't actually go outside and like you can't like absorb the sun and stuff, and just like those things really like have a huge effect on you, like more than I would have known. So I was like, maybe that's why I'm moody, because actually I'm not exercising at all. Like maybe that's what's affecting my emotions the most, you know? Actually, I'm really interested in that topic, so hopefully I'll make a video about that too. But it's also like about the mental aspect, like what have I been feeding my mind lately? Like, have I been at least trying to discipline myself a little bit, or have I been letting myself go too easily? You know, like what have I been watching, what I have been reading. After school, you're not doing as much of like coursework learning, so you need to kind of keep your brain engaged in a healthy way too. So if you're just binging TV all day every day, like it's I understand like it's so hard to get out of that rut, but again, like you have to completely confront yourself and be like, what is stopping me from actually reaching the goal that I want in life, or the dream, or just like even something that might not be important to someone else but just gives you joy. Like what is stopping me from kind of just following that, and then completely like either cut it off completely or transition yourself into like more of a structured routine. If you're a procrastinator like me, give yourself a deadline for it. But if anything happens, don't guilt trip yourself, you know, continue on the path. Know that tomorrow is a different day and you can try harder tomorrow, and yeah, use those deadlines as like really serious things. You know how we take work deadlines seriously? Like use those deadlines as well. Number 7, understand that failure doesn't correlate to your performance. So do something that scares the heck out of you, and maybe perhaps it will even give you meaning. So as introverts, we tend to have this irrational fear that we're on stage, that everyone is just staring at us and judging us for every move, like for everything, for every move, every word, everything that we do and say. And I think sometimes that freezes us in our tracks from doing things that are maybe a little more out there, like a little more social, or you know, positions that, for example, are like more leadership positions, because like, you know, we're in front of more people. And it's this idea of an imaginary audience, you know, always thinking that there's like this crowd of people just always like judging your every move. I'm not sure why we tend to judge every aspect of our lives like a microscope, when we call other people brave for doing the very same things that we judge ourselves for. When other people do things, we call them brave, we cheer them on, we support them, and then when we do them, it's just like a complete 180 degree. Why? Like, stop taking everything in life so seriously. Just like really just go after what you want to do, without kind of asking for validation of external sources, because people will always have their opinions. Number 8, extract tangible creativity from your messy, chaotic brain into doing something like a craft with your hands. Most often, if your mind is so loud, it means that there's just like an idea poking at you to follow it. So if there's something that you can't stop thinking about, perhaps it's just showing you to go after it. I don't know if you read Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert, but it's just like this idea of this magic of an idea just waiting for you to grab. You stop ignoring it, go after it. Perhaps it could be something with your hands, like a physical craft. Perhaps you can turn it into something like, you can turn like a strategy into maybe like a course, or like a community initiative, or like volunteering, maybe even a book club with other people where you kind of just have the same interests, and maybe perhaps turn it into a brand because you're just such a big book lover, book reader, book blogger. Number 9, go outside of your comfort zone that you're just always used to find spontaneous things to change your everyday regular routine. So for example, if you're a night owl like me, find ways to wake up earlier in the morning, which is like something that I've been trying to do for literally like centuries. But I do find that, like, for example, if I wake up at 7 a.m, I'll kind of do like my little morning routine where like I eat or like have coffee and then like journal or like do my Bible study, and it really does help set the day for you. who knows, maybe you'll learn to love it. You know, maybe you're just one of those rare like morning people. And of course, switching up your environment always helps. Kind of just a change of scenery can kind of just calm you down, because I don't know about you, but I hate walking in the same place like a day after. Like, it's just so boring, you know? Like, change it up a bit, have some other environmental stimuli. And number 10, stop waiting and focus on the little things that bring you joy every single day. Again, most of the things that make us anxious are just things that are outside of our control, that we're waiting for. And I think what's really detrimental is always fantasizing about some other alter version of reality that might never even happen. So then these like expectations and pressures kind of, they can just like freeze you in your tracks every day and stop you from living in the present, you know, and creating your own way in the world without like future use expectations, you know. So basically, it's important to be the own dang character of your own novel. And at the end of the day, we have to take comfort and peace in knowing that everything is so unpredictable. So we might as well just go after the things that give our heart like flutters. Flutters will keep us afloat and sober when life kind of just leads us astray. Do any of you guys practice any of these ideas already? If you do, let me know. If you don't, let me know which one kind of stood out for you the most, or which one you're most excited to try. Self-love and confidence, baby.